This is her first children's book. This is Rosemary and the Witches of Pendle Hill. So what we'd like you to do now is just sit back, relax for a moment, because Samantha is going to introduce us to Rosemary and the Witches of Pendle Hill.
Right. My mum is a witch. I know this to be a fact, as does my little sister Lois, although Lois just takes everything in her stride, as she's only 5. If you told her Mum was a member of MI5, she'd just shrug nonchalantly and ask for another digestive biscuit. The reason I know my mum is a witch is because she has a broomstick by the front door.
Oh. Always a telltale sign. Yeah. Do you know, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm married to a witch as well. It's incredible. And you are, Samantha, you are a witch in real life.
Well, yes, sort of. I mean, it sounds a bit weird to say that, doesn't it? But I sort of follow Wicca, and I do spells sometimes, and I make spells for other people, spell kits and so on.
And where did that all start for you then? When did you get interested in that? Tell people what a Wiccan witch is.
Well, Wicca is a form of, it's like a sort of religion in a way, but it's a following. So really, it's mostly about nature and following the natural cycles of the earth, and you harnessing the powers of nature to use them in spells and to manifest things that you want to change in your life, perhaps. But you don't necessarily have to do spells to follow Wicca. And there's certain festivals and things that people celebrate during the year that are called Sabbats. And a lot of them we follow anyway, like May Day, like Easter, and Halloween. They're just called different things.
Yeah. Now, Rosemary and the Witches of Pendle Hill is a work of fiction, except, though, the Witches of Pendle Hill actually did exist.
Yeah. It was 1612, and there were, women and people that lived in the community there in Pendle Hill. And what happened was there was about 12 or 13 that were accused of witchcraft and hung, and they were made to walk from Pendle to Lancaster, where they were hung in Lancaster. And it was really a bit of a setup, because it was just this guy that was a peddler called John Law, and he was asked for some pins by this young girl, Alison Device, her name was, and she asked to buy these pins from him that were often used for love spells and things. And he refused to sell her the pins. And then he accused her of making him go lame and have a stroke. So he got the sort of district judge involved and said, this girl has cursed me. And of course they took it all very, very seriously and started interviewing all these family members, etc., and just accused them of witchcraft, when really what they were doing is probably, some of them would have been midwives, some of them would have just been using herbs and folklore and stuff to heal people.
And we should point out the illustrations we've just shown are not from Samantha's book. They were illustrations off the time used to talk about the Witches of Pendle Hill.
Eamonn said, that was a true story, but yours is fiction. So tell us about Rosemary and her sister Lois and how the story unfolds.
Well, they're kind of based on my 2 girls, really. So Rosemary, the eldest daughter, she has this ability to see colours and so on around people. They're auras, I suppose you'd call it. And she sees her dad suffers with depression, and when he's going through an episode, she sees a cloud appear above his head. And what happens is they live in their house with 4 other witches and wizards who they just accept that they live with them, but the dad never sees them. It's only the mum and the two girls that see them. And one of the witches disappears, and this coincides with her dad's cloud reappearing above his head. So she thinks the 2 are linked, and she thinks, I've got to find Phyllis, this missing witch, find out where she's gone, and then maybe Dad will get better. So it's sort of a magical journey then.
Talking about links, is your book and Emmerdale linked from the point of view, did you leave Emmerdale to write this, or by leaving Emmerdale it gave you time to write this?
No, I started writing it in 2017, in the autumn of 2017, and it took me about 9 months. I was writing it while I was doing Emmerdale. So though that has nothing to do with it, I felt it was the right time to leave Emmerdale, really. I still want to act. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of work right now, acting-wise. So I'm really, really lucky that this has finally being published, and hopefully, I'm writing a sequel as well at the moment. So hopefully, at least I can do something creative while we're waiting for acting work to sort of pick up again.
You mentioned, I think, the age group you're aiming at is age 8 to 12, and your daughters are 8 and 12. So when you were writing, were you sharing the stories with them? Were they reading chapters and kind of giving you critique?
So my eldest daughter, she was 9 when I was writing it. So I used to give her chapter by chapter and say, tell me what you think, and be very honest. You're not going to have to worry about hurting mummy's feelings. And she did enjoy it, and she was very honest. And then we read it to my younger daughter last year, and she really enjoyed it. I think they like the fact as well that it's sort of based on their, that it's them in the book.
Are we looking at the new J.K. Rowling?
I don't think so. It would be lovely, wouldn't it, if it got made into a film? And I have always visualised that when I was writing it, because the characters are very larger than life, if you like, and I see them very clearly in my mind's eye, and I see all the scenes like I was writing it like I was writing a film, I suppose. So that would be great, wouldn't it? Because I've written myself apart.
Of course you have.
Thinking that, yes.
Of course you have.
Yeah. If you're ever looking for a gnarled old warlock, here I am.
Or another witch.
Not very good, but I'm cheap.
And I've got my own broomstick I can bring.
Brilliant. You're in.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Every success with it. It's published this Thursday the 6th of August. That's Rosemary and the Witches of Pendle Hill, and it is by the author, Samantha Giles. Is it nice to be called an author?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's thrilling. Thank you.
Congratulations. We hope it does well. I'm sure it will.